Hello again, and welcome to Winning with the Wrangler at Dick Powell's Leadership Corner, brought to you by Earth, Wind, Fire, Water Training and Development, where our passion is building leaders of today and tomorrow. The information on today's program was gathered in many different places from many different people. So if you hear yourself in our conversation today, please realize it is not all about you. Now, for speaking engagements or just to get a hold of us, don't hesitate. Give us a call here at 727 422 1833. 727 422 1833, or send me an email, dick@ewfw.org. Today, I've been doing some questioning of people of what they thought a leader needs to be and how to put that into place and do that. So I'm going to look at my notes today that I've been interviewing people, asking them that question. What does it mean to be a leader? And the first thing that came up was a list of habits. Now, these are things that people saw in leaders that seem to come up over and over, and these habits seem to be ingrained in each leader that they spoke about. And so it was amazing to me as I dissected all the information that I had gotten. Well, what is a leader and what does it mean to be a leader? That these, kind of stood out right off the bat. They were consistency. People said over and over that leaders need to be consistent in everything they do and say and act. They said they need to be consistent no matter where they were. In other words, whether they were at home or they were at work or they were out playing on golf or no matter where they need to be consistent in their speech as well as in their actions. And that was the biggest part that really stood strong under all these interviews. The second thing is they said leaders need to be great communicators. Now that's not just standing up and giving a speech, they said. They said this was also communicating to everyone within the organization and people around them. I once interviewed a gentleman, and they said that the leader to them was the one who actually said good morning to them. A simple thing. But also, communication stands very high in today's world. You believe that communication should be easy. We all have probably a cell phone strapped to our wrist, and we have an internet, we have Twitter, Facebook, you name it, we have it. We send emails like we're actually talking to someone and we're not. Now think about that. Communication that happens needs to be a two-way street. It also needs to be open and honest. And that was one of the things they said that great leaders knew how to communicate and when to communicate and to do it openly and honestly so everyone understood where they stood and what was going on. So that was the second big thing. They also said communication from the leader needs to come out with some enthusiasm, some excitement, that they need to be knowledgeable about what they're talking about, and they need to be accurate. That seems like a good thing, doesn't it? Well, the third thing on their list, quite frankly, I found exciting for me. It says they need to be action oriented. And that meant really is that they just didn't sit behind a desk and bark out orders. They were actually getting out and about with the people and helping and moving those decisions along. They were also seen to be actively involved when things were being done. They didn't stay away. They actually got their hands dirty from time to time. And that action oriented was a big part of where they felt a great leader from just someone who shows up. They felt that the great leaders also had a way to discern great choices. They did that by taking in all the information they could, always gathered information to be able to take a few quiet moments and put that all into place in their mind before the actual choice or action was taken. They said this oftentimes meant that they had to actually sit quietly and wait. but they appreciated because they knew that the leader was taking in all the information and then making decisions. And that part of the discernment really set them apart from just people who showed up and great leaders. They said great leaders are always prepared. This is something that always kind of ticked me a little bit when I would go to a board meeting or some kind of meeting and people didn't show up prepared and ready to go to work, which means they didn't have a pencil or a paper or a pen. They showed up without having any information ready to go rock and roll. Also, being prepared means staying on top of what's going on in your organization. This is a difficult task, to get up out of your desk and kind of wander around and find out what's going on, to have that good communication to and from. So being prepared was high on their list. They said great leaders are coachable. Great leaders are coachable. In other words, they actually have a coach, someone they go to and say, hey, I'm having trouble with this, or what do you think? Or you see, they know they're not in it all alone. Great leaders oftentimes have coaches who work with them. Sometimes, according to other people in the organization, not even on the same level. I have to tell you, one of my greatest coaches was somebody I shared coffee and Cuban toast with in the morning, and they were nowhere near on the same level as the director. But they gave me some insight every day of what was going on and how it was going on and who was doing what, when, where, and how. You see, having a coach is a good thing. They also said a great leader is a wonderful facilitator. That means oftentimes they don't do it all themselves. They oftentimes delegate. Or when there's a situation, they go in and facilitate a solution between parties. And that facilitated role really means more than anything else. It means that they're not the ultimate king at the table or queen. They're actually there to help disseminate and make things happen. They said that a great leader is enthusiastic. So many times I've run into myself run into leaders who are very dry and bland, and they would run a meeting and it was so boring that, well, I ended up my time personally doodling on my paper, my pencil, because I was just rocked. But there was no enthusiasm. The people said that great leaders come with an enthusiasm that is able to set the vision and keep it going and bring people along because they get excited and want to be a part of the mission and the vision and are able to take the strategy and put it into place. Enthusiasm, a big one for them. They said that great leaders knew how to do away with distractions. And that's because they said great leaders had an ability to really set the needs of the people, needs of the organization, far ahead of other opportunities. They said also by removing the distractions, they were able to focus. They saw great leaders as people with focus. So you think about what are your distractions that are holding you back? And the 10th big thing that they had on their list, they said great leaders are accountable. You know, if you're a leader and you don't think that you're accountable to anyone because you're the boss, you're the leader, you have the title, you need to step back a little bit and get a little humility and understand that everything you do and everything you say needs to have an accountability piece to it. Whether we realize it or not, we are all accountable to someone, somewhere, sometime, all the time. And so accountability needs to have metrics and measurements for great leaders, as well as the people working within the team. These 10 things I correlated out of a group of people that we interviewed And we ask them the questions, what does it mean to you to have a great leader or be a great leader? What are some things that are often overlooked? Now, some other things that came up, quite frankly, weren't all that shocking to me about being a great leader. The things that came up to me also, let me get them here for us because I've got them here in front of me. They said great leaders, this one shouldn't be a shock to you, know how to adjust the strategy to make sure that all decisions are run through the mission and the vision. Now, that's pretty hard for most people, I believe. But they continually say great leaders are people who are able to make that strategic adjustment. So I want you to think about that. What are you doing in your life that you're making that strategic adjustment, not on your vision or your mission, but on the practicality of your day-to-day strategy? That's pretty interesting to me. Another one came up, quite frankly, all the time is that everyone leads and everyone follows someone. And that's the part about being a great leader. You need to know that you might have followers, but I guarantee you're following someone. Many of my great leaders I didn't even know personally. It was a book I read or a seminar I went to or something I grew up with or a coach or a mentor installed in me. So think about that. Who is your leader? Who are you following? And that's a big piece because what they tell me over and over, Jim Rohn says that the 5 people you hang around will dictate the level of competence as well as the level of growth and what kind of money you're going to make. So leaders, that might be a good thing for us to all consider. The other thing was on here it said individuals must see the benefits of the vision before they can commit to it. The vision, first of all, needs to be the long-range picture. Begin with the end in mind, Stephen Covey always said. And as you start putting that picture in place, it needs to be relayed with enthusiasm, but an ability to take the words and paint them into pictures so that people understand and get behind them. They need to see the benefits because everybody, I don't care who you are, there's always that question, what's in it for me? I would like to encourage you to say, what's in it for my family? What's in it for my significant other? What's in it for my team? What's in it for my organization? You see, I always believe it's more than just one person. But I believe we do all ask that question. So when you see that vision, what does it mean to you? But it also means how you convey it. Now, the biggest trick here I'm going to share with you leaders is this. If you come up with a vision and you put it on your title page and you put it up on the wall, and that's the last time it ever comes out from your lips, that's the last time you've ever repeated it, well, you're doing yourself a disservice as well as the people that you're trying to lead. People need to hear that over and over and over with the same enthusiasm that you did it the first time. There was a kind of a unwritten rule in our organization that whenever we got together as a team, the first thing we did was we all read that vision together. I personally wanted to make sure that everyone there on the team knew what we were there for and what we were going to accomplish. We did that every time before we started looking at the strategy and the plans of what we were going to be doing. What I found over and over is that when we did that, the people bought into the vision and immediately started to have bigger, open, honest discussions about the who, what, when, where, and hows. So leaders, it's on the list. You have to understand this is coming from many different people. Now, I'm going to take and say this, and it's going to be in a humbling manner. Character and competence are a must for anyone to look at you with trust and as a leader. And character, they say, is something that happens when no one's looking. But character is a thing that's built on daily. It doesn't happen just once. It's how you speak, how you act, and are you consistent in those speaking and actions? This thing of competence really means two things. One is you need to know when you don't know what you don't know what you don't know. And as a leader, when that happens, you really ought to look for people around you who do know and can help you understand and help you grow by helping you start to understand what you don't know, what you don't know, what you don't know. The great leaders are the ones who surround themselves with people who are quicker, faster, smarter than they are. And they're also great leaders who realize those people sitting around them, and they work with them, coach them, and mentor them to be great leaders on their own. You see, one of the jobs, I hate to use the word jobs, but one of the opportunities of every great leader is building more great leaders. You see, when that happens, and we all understand that great leaders can play in the same sandbox. Great leaders can work on the same team. Great leaders can come together and make wonderful choices and decisions. By blending all the talents and gifts of each great leader sitting around that table, you have to understand just how things can change so rapidly and quickly. And that's for the better. So let me kind of go on here. There's a couple more. I understand maybe I'm beating a dead horse. I hope I'm not. I hope that you understand as leaders, these are responsibilities that we're all involved in. And we all fall short from time to time. Now, one of the things that on the other side of the board that people said that leaders lose their integrity, their trust of the people they work with. They said one of the quickest ways was to be absent. Well, they're never there. I can never get a hold of them. Even when I can, they're always too busy to talk to me. They're absent in all decisions and everything else, but they're the ones at the top taking all the credit. They're the ones making all the money. How come they're never there? Over and over, I heard that same plea. We don't have a leader. They're never here. They're never around. So a way to destroy your leadership ability is to be absent. So be present, be there, and be available. And that's the biggest part, being available. Even if you're so busy you don't have time to talk to that person right then and there, make an appointment with them. Say, hey, look, I'm just stepping into a meeting, but can I get back to you in 30 minutes? I'll be in my office. I'll meet you in the hall. I'll meet you at the coffee. Wherever it is, be available. Don't be absent. They said that the biggest complaint was the leader became a dictator. It was all about them. It was their way or the highway, and they never got any input. Even when they gave input to the leader just shrugged it off and did whatever they wanted to do anyhow, and never really took into account anything anyone was saying. And they used the word dictator in a pretty strong manner, and we're not going to use the words they actually use. We're just going to stick with dictator. If you're not ever accepting ideas, giving things a try, You just never know. Somebody around you just might know more about things than you do. You see, that's what makes great leaders. They realize that they don't know everything and they can't do everything by themselves. You see, there's a great big difference there. They said also they had some leaders that were self-seeking. It's all about me. Me, 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 me. Every time they stood up in front of them, all the word was I. And there was no we's. Great leaders never use that word I. They always use the word we. What can we do? What are we doing? You see, when you take out that word I and you make it all encompassing as we, everyone on the team, everyone in the organization, everyone seems to feel like they have a part of the opportunity. And I hope, by golly, you're a great leader and you've taken the time to listen to them, taking the time to walk around and do some interviews. I used to like that part personally. I know that my upper level leadership did not like me doing those things. They were afraid I was going to find something out, I think. But I have to tell you, I really enjoyed them because that's when I found out what was needed to make the organization stronger. So being self-seeking. They said they had some leaders that they'd worked for that were manipulators. They would tell this group one thing and this group something else, this person one thing, pit them against the other person, back and forth. And that manipulation is a negative piece. Leaders, if you're not giving the same information to all the people, if you're pitting one person against another person, guess what? You're not a leader. So I'm going to encourage you never to do that. Always share information, open and honest with all the people. I love this one. People went to the boss and they refused the feedback. And instead, the boss went in on to attack. The leader attacked that person because they were coming saying, do you think maybe we could do something a little different? Do you think this might work better? What do you think about this idea? And instead, the person was attacked by the leader telling them that basically sit down and be quiet. Leaders, please watch that very closely. Understand that we do nothing by ourselves, that other people do know more than we do, and there are more talented people around us than us. Make sure that that doesn't ever happen. Never attack someone for a good idea, even if it's not yours. This one kind of popped its ugly head in here when I was asking about it. This is when leaders become jealous of people within the rank and file, on the team, in the organization, that might get a kudo or a good old boy or a thank you from someone in the higher ups. It kind of looks like you've been overlooked. Leaders, great leaders, are happy for those people. They're excited. They have an enthusiastic piece of that young person or whoever it was is getting some recognition. You see, it's not all about you. That's an important part that I don't believe we talk about near as much. Though just few words of saying, thank you, great job, well done. You can do that. Oh man, this one was terrible. They said our person in charge, our leader, blames everyone but himself for terrible decisions. They don't ask us what we think. They just choose a choice and make a decision, but when it doesn't fly, well, they'll pick someone out, make them a scapegoat. You see, great leaders, they take the hit. I screwed up. I made a mistake. I'm going to do better next time. What can we do to change it? And they ask themselves some questions. What did I learn from that, and what will I do different? And when people see the great leaders ask those questions of themselves and admit when they made an error, they say, wow, that person's human. And you know what? I want to follow someone's human and not someone's a robot. You see how this works? Now, they said also it seemed like there's a whole lot of drama within our organization. There's this person that doesn't like that person. There's this, something happened here. We have all these silos and they're pitted against each other. And they went on and on. This was a huge topic, by the way. This thing of bringing drama. They wanted to go to work someplace where it was you didn't have a wonderful day every day, but on most days there was some kind of smile on your face and you enjoyed what you did. And that's the important part. So leaders, if you see a bunch of drama going on, stop it. Make it not happen. There's one leader I know of that if he hears any gossip going on, hears someone passing gossip, they get a warning the first time, and the second time they are asked to leave. He said there's just no place in his organization for gossip. Now, you might want to think about that. Sounds a little tough, but you know what? He's got a great organization of people that I've interviewed there love to come to work. They know there's not going to be any backstabbing or backbiting. There's always going to be moving ahead with some kind of smile and enthusiasm. Now, they'll admit to you that there's some long days and some hard work, but at the end of the day, there's always someone at the top who says, hey, thanks, good job, well done. No drama. That's a good thing. Oh, this one I don't like. They said that the leader plays the martyr. Poor little old me. Because you guys screwed up, I didn't get my raise. Poor little old me. We're not moving ahead. Leaders, it's not all about you. It's all about the people with you. The people are coming along and signed up to come along with you. You see, they have a choice too. They have a choice to follow or not. Don't play that martyr card. And the last one that's on my list for today. If you want to lose all integrity, you want to lose all character that you think you've built up, you want to lose all the trust that you think you deserve, just do everything yourself. Never delegate, never ask someone to come on and help you. Just run around like a chicken with your head cut off and try to have your hands in every single pie. There's an organization I'm with right now and there's a person in charge and wonderful person. Unfortunately, they've never learned how to delegate or lead. And so they run around trying to have their hands on every single thing that happens within the organization. The people have now just learned to stand back and watch, because even when they've offered help, they've been turned down. These are some wonderful things on leadership. I hope you've learned something today, and I hope we've been able to bring to the forefront by interviewing other people and getting their ideas on what leadership is or could be or should be, that you have learned as a leader some things maybe you need to work on. Maybe you heard some things in here that you maybe you didn't agree with. Maybe you heard some things that kind of flipped your trigger and said, man, I'm going to change. Or my other thing is, I hope it encourages you to go around and speak to people and ask them, hey, as a leader, how am I doing? You might get some good answers. Well, on behalf of myself, Dick Powell, and the whole Leadership Corner team, I want to say thank you for being a part of today's program. My hope is that you have received a nugget of wisdom and guidance that will help you become a better leader. Now, if you have any questions or comments on today's program, don't hesitate. Give me a call. 727-422-1833. 727-422-1833. Send me an email, dick@ewfw.org. dick@ewfw.org. Go to the website, spend some time, look around, then send me a note. Go to www.ewfw.org. www.ewfw.org. And when you're ready to have a wonderful person come and do a keynote speech just for you on leadership and accountability, give us a call here and we'll be glad to help you out. Now, until next time, D.W. the Wrangler saying, ride hard, ride fast.